Good morning. Welcome to Presence of Light with Charlie Riverman Bergeron. I have to once again apologize for my being late this morning. Uh, my sleep um, pattern is very strange lately, and hopefully, I will receive the equipment to change that. In the meantime, I may change the time to a later time every Friday, which might be easier for me to arise to. That is my personal issue and my humble apology to each of you who look forward to 10 o'clock to see me here. The one great thing is that's always online on Humanity Healing. And then I also post it on my own link, always on my own um, Facebook page. So, for those of you who follow me and like to hear what I have to say, it's always available. Today's topic arose very quickly this morning as I uh, woke up, and it hit me like a lightning bolt. Is really what it was. It was like the title is "The Light Within." And I think what's happening for all of us is we're going through this period where there's a lot of inner darkness that we're uh, dealing with. And we are not really being able to put our finger on it and say, well, it's exactly this or it's exactly that. And know that it's it's all about everything that's happening right now, the whole change of all lifestyles on planet Earth. And when we look at the lifestyles and how they're changing, and we look at those who are our guides and teachers, not being able to speak in a manner which is encouraging us to say everything's okay, they seem to be um, very unstable inside their own presence, and they're broadcasting that out to the world. So that instability that's being broadcast to us is creating fear. It's creating darkness. It's creating uh, whether it's whether it's intentional or not is really irrelevant for me right now. And this is what I've come to understand is that when I take a side and for or against, then I'm caught in the middle of that. When I can look at it from an objective point of view outside of that energy field, I can see both sides, either or. And what I see is utter total confusion. So, what is this confusion? I have what they've termed brain fog from COVID. It's going 2.5 years and it's still going. And I'm, having to work with people to help me understand how I can see when it's triggering something in my brain and learn how to not give it energy. And that's changing how I think. And so as I do that process, I look at the world and just say, okay, I am who I am. And in order for me to function in this world of chaos, calamity, whatever you want to call it, is really a challenge beyond anything I've ever experienced before, and I've never experienced it at this intensity. So normally my brain would is used to working in a a wavelength, if you will, and has adapted skills to work with calamity or fear at certain levels. But now it's exploded and it's much more powerful than it ever was. So it brings us to what is the answer? And the answer was the light within. What do I mean by the light within us? I've explained it before. When I died, part of the journey was light. I became light. There was no physical body. I was pure light. Everything was light. I was part of that light. There was nothing to distinguish myself as a human being or a brain or a soul or whatever. There was nothing there but light, and I was it, as was everything in the light. It was all light. Now, that may sound very strange, and I'm sure other near-death experiencers have felt that, and they may have seen it in a different way. The meaning of that is that the source of life, one of the sources of life really, is light. If we look at our planet and there's no light, how do we get the nourishment of to grow the plants, et cetera, et cetera? It's a life force. Love is a life force. Peace is a life force. That's what I was taught. That was what came back to be a part of, is how do I always say I play the role of Johnny Appleseed, and I seed the world with peace, light, and love, as much as I possibly can in any human moment. But I'm just like everybody else. I get angry, I get frustrated, I look at the world and get upset. Yet I can bring myself back to a place within myself that is not governed by the brain. And what is that place? It's the heart. We come back into the heart. And when we look at how we were created, it's the heart that told the brain to wake up, to go into action. And it's still the heart that tells the brain, okay, I'm going to send you the messages and feed you the energy so that you can work. So in many ways, what we realize is that throughout our life, and especially in the last thousands of years, we have focused on the brain to the point where we're even creating AI, which is brains that are not human, that are computers that will work. So what does that propose for us is that we no longer need to use our brains. And what happens if we don't use our brains? What if we become enslaved to this other intelligence that's around us? And I look at the children of the world today and I watch them with their games, and I'm looking at the violence in the world, and I'm saying, why wouldn't there be violence in the world with the children and everything? They're brought up on games of killing and all of this stuff, and stealing and robbing or whatever it is. I'm not a gamer, but I look at it and realize in that mindset now, they have been told that this is acceptable. Yeah, it's just a game. And that's what they'll say. Oh, it's just a game. But we don't realize that programming is there, and the brain has the ability to, in a very dangerous or frightful moment, or in anger, act upon it unconsciously. We're not intending to do this, but we lose our temper and we react. So are we becoming a reactionary being rather than an actuary being? So my notes today are part of something I wrote years ago, and I was called to look it up and read that. And when I read it, I rewrote it in a way that deals with today's talk. And the message really is that the light within you is brighter, is getting brighter. Okay. And it's not because we're doing anything, it's because the whole universe is changing and humanity and the universe is evolving. Okay, so we're attached to an evolving movement that everything evolves. It doesn't matter who or what we are. And it's not our ability to say no, yes. It's part of a flow, like the river. The river flows. And if it leaves its banks and starts another pattern, then so be it. That's nature. That's evolution. At one point, there was one landmass and one water mass on planet Earth. So what does that say right now? Here we are. It's different. Thousands, millions of years doesn't matter. It's existed that long. So how do we as humans think that what we're doing is the greatest thing since cream cheese for planet Earth? In reality, it's not. It's very destructive. And it's also destructive to us as humans. So the light within is the only thing that is still sacred within us at this point. And from that light, we exude it. The, behind the light is love. And it's the love that brings the light. And as we lose our ability to love, it becomes darker and darker and darker, both within us and around us. And there are people in the world who are understanding that at a level which engages them to darken it so that they have more power. And you can't see what they're doing until it's in front of your face and you're stuck with it. So this darkness and light story is ancient and nothing new. It's just how are we going to deal with it? So in my notes, I wrote that we're all changing, we're all evolving, and we're all moving in a collective consciousness, not just an individual consciousness. And that's what's going to make the big difference here, is that we are now coming together and thinking together and choosing to come back to embracing each other and embrace the light within each other and raise the light and which creates happiness, which creates comfort, which creates loving kindness. All of that comes from the light because it's the light that's carrying it from the source of our being. You can say, no, Charlie, that's not the way it is. Scientifically, blah, blah, blah. Well, scientifically, that is. But science isn't always the rule of the universe. We create science. We have labeled it science. We are looking at it as an object or a subject, and we are applying our thought pattern to it. And when we agree on it, then we say, oh, well, it's real. But this is real. Well, we've thought a lot of things have been real over thousands of years. I'm not even going to try to explain that. And we've been mistaken. We've been mistaken big time, and we've created a lot of destruction and harm and pain and suffering by our thinking of that we knew everything there was to know about it. And so the play is in motion. We are part of it, and we can change the script. And we can change the script by coming back into our hearts, by accepting the light in our hearts, and knowing that anything we send out from our heart needs to be encased in that light. because the light is the energy. It's light energy that we are sending. And that's the container. It's sort of like the Merkaba was the chariot uh, to travel it. This is what we are doing here. We are creating a Merkabic field in our heart and sending out that love and that light and that peace. And we can do that. We can do that consciously, intentionally, or we can just relax and come back and to say, no matter what happens to me, no matter whether I can see, I can talk, I can walk, or I have brain fog, or I have Parkinson's, or whatever I have, I am that I am. And it's my responsibility to be the brightest myself, the brightest that I can be. And so I encourage everybody to look within yourself for the light within you. And it may be very dim, right now, but I can tell you that it's sort of like a fire. If you put enough wood on it, it will glow very big. The same thing here is if you feed the light, if you acknowledge the light and look for the light within yourself, it will grow. Because what you'll see and you'll feel is something powerful. And that powerful is not something that is outside of you. It's not something you bought. It's not something that somebody created and wants to sell to you. It is you. It is the real you. You are the light of the world. Many poets have expressed this. Many teachers have expressed this. Yet there was a time when humanity understood that. But now we've been spreading so much darkness that it has somewhat, I will say, overcome that principle of light. And we're all feeling suffering at some level. Nobody's escaping the suffering. It doesn't matter if you have $18 billion, I don't care. Somewhere in that person, there is suffering and pain and all of the things that are creating a situation where they are hoarding all of that money rather than sharing it with the world for the better good. It's about greed, it's about selfishness, and that's what it produces. When we lose the light within us, that's what we become. We become hungry wolves. That's what I'm seeing them go through the woods. Hungry wolves seeking to just take down anything for them to stay in their powerful positions. So we're having a rebirthing of the soul, if you will. Okay. And the beliefs that we've been taught no longer align with who we are in this awakening. And we have to let them go. And it's a challenge, it's a struggle, because we've been taught by many different sources that such and such a thing was real. But now we're looking and saying, oh, well, no, it's not real. Humanity is not just, 600 years old or 6,000 years old. It's 6 million years old. Or, this mound of dirt that we have here is not just a mound of dirt. It's a civilization. And there's buildings in there. And there were people living there that we never even knew existed. So we're learning far more about who we are, what we have been, and where we are now, what has happened back then versus what's happening now, and how do we get out of this sort of collapsing, if you will, of what we call civilization and society. I'm not going to say civilization is evil, but civilization is basically a control mechanism, and it was designed because there was people that were warriors that were attacking, and so we needed to create some kind of collective form to protect ourselves, and it served us well. over the years, and it still serves us. So civilization is not going to dissipate, but it needs to change. It needs to change in a way that it benefits everyone, not just a few. I'll get off that soapbox and move on to the way we need to look at it as a rebirthing. Just, it's, you have to imagine that you are somewhat of in a womb, okay? A large womb, not, a physical womb in a woman's body, but a universal womb. And we as a planet are birthing. We're going from the egg of the planet, and we're going to evolve into something new. What that is, none of us really can project. It's not in our ability at this moment to project that. We can have ideas and we can have desires as to what we want. But it doesn't mean that that's going to happen because we're not in charge. And this has been the story of humanity, is when people think they're in charge, they become overbearing. They start creating ridiculous rules and regulations, most of which benefit them rather than everybody else. And when I say everybody else, I include the animals, the plants, the water. And when we look at humanity, what we have done as a collective over the years, we have actually destroyed planet Earth. And I'm not going to use the terminology of a lesser than we have totally changed planet Earth. And now we are at the point where water is being treated as a commodity. It's something you buy and sell. But without water, there is no life. We are now saying that some of us have the right to own life. And we'll take a deep breath of that because I don't want to be owned by anybody. I'm a sovereign being, and so are you. And each one of us have the ability and the wisdom to make choices that are better than what is being given to us at this time. And I encourage every one of you to look for the light within. The light within you so that you can make those better decisions. And it doesn't mean to go in defiance to all of the other things, which you will automatically by doing that. But don't make an issue of it. Make it a practice, a personal practice. And the more of us that just slip out of that collective field of energy, begin to establish our own stable self again. At first, it won't be noticed, then it will be noticed, and it will trigger those who are in control, because we are the ones who are keeping them in control by bowing down to them, by buying their products, by knowing that when we do this, we're hurting Mother Earth, or we're killing animals, or we're destroying the forests, or the oxygen level, or the water quality, yet we keep doing it. It's time now, if there's ever going to be a rebellion in this world, it's to be a rebellion against that which is destroying planet Earth. And I don't want to be one of those, and yet I have to be in order to survive. So this is a process for all of us to look for the light within and say, is this light or is this darkness? And if it's darkness or creating darkness or pain or suffering, how can I either lessen my involvement in that, or how can I just cut it from my life? So it actually creates a moment of creativity for all of us. We are no longer playing follow the leader. We are now having to think for ourselves, just like as our ancestors, when they moved to some place they'd never been before, they had to learn from scratch how to survive there. And we're having to learn how to survive in a world that is totally out of balance. Okay? So this is what I want you to look at. And I want you to look inside yourself. It's not about me saying I know everything. I don't. This is my journey. This is what I do. I'm looking at it from a different place. And I'm saying this no longer serves me. That no longer serves the world. And how can I trim that down? I'm not going to be 100%. That's okay. But as long as I keep becoming aware, I have an opportunity to raise the percentage. And even if we've got to a 50-50%, we're ahead of what we are at now, because right now it's negative. So for each of us, it's a rebirth of the soul. Okay? And the word soul came to me, my guides gave it to me years ago as source of unconditional love, SOUL. And then somebody said to me, source of unconditional light. And I said, wow, I thank you. So here we are, each receiving information, separate, but collectively viable. So it proves that each one of us have the ability to see things that are better, see things that will be guidance for others. And so I offer those to you, soul, as source of unconditional love, and yours as soul as source of unconditional light. And it's the light and the love that will change everything, including all of the corporate and powerful beings of the world. So learn to understand when you're working from your soul, whether it be working with light or working with love. And become aware of that. Become aware of how you feel when you do that. Does it feel good? Are you struggling? These are the points right now we have to look at. If we're struggling, what we're doing is we're carrying more negative energy, and then we can really process through. So get rid of that. Look for the parts that are hurting in you and let them go. Now, I can't tell you how to do that, but face them and say, I no longer need you. I no longer have to carry you with me in my backpack. I'm releasing you. You are not serving any purpose of protection for me. You're not serving any purpose of enlightenment for me. You are part of something that is old and it's trash and it needs to be taken out. So you have the power to do this. I have the power to do this. And it doesn't matter how little or how much we do it. It's about entraining our mind to look for it, to find it, and do something about it. And in that moment, what we're doing is we are coming back into our sovereignty. We are not puppets on the ends of strings of other people. We were never intended to be that. We were intended to be able to live alone in the woods if we got separated from our tribes. We knew how to live. We didn't have to have 1,000 people telling us what to do, when to do it, and why. I'm going to pause there for a moment. Think about that. Think about the energy field of fear that is being directed towards us as what we call civilization collapses. Think about the greed that is behind that energy. The I want, my, me. Take a look at that in all of our leaders. Find the ones who are not talking about me and my and our versus yours. This is the world that you were born into to be ruling over yourself, not be a puppet, be it by anyone. And this is the largest scale effort that has ever been done in human history, is to take 8 billion people without destroying them all and shifting them consciously back into harmony and balance because they want to, because they chose to. This is your power. This is who you are. Leave the confusion. Leave the confusion of your brain and enter into your hearts. Enter into your hearts and open them. And know when you shut them down. Learn that pattern. Because this is where it's all going to change, is right here in our heart. Not just our physical heart, but our etheric heart, which connects us to the source of our creation. However you believe in that. It was the heart that started beating. That meant we were alive. Think about that. The heart. Come back to your heart. Take care of your heart. Nurture your heart. Learn what your heart has to say. And then assist it. Give it a hand. Give it a standing ovation, or give it a party sometime, and just enjoy the wisdom that will come from your heart. And witness the energy and the power of that. And how, as it reaches your brain starts to shift and change. It isn't the brain talking to the heart that's the issue here. It's the heart being heard by the brain once again. And it's driven by the light within us. So, in closing, bless you all. Each of you are being called to leave the confusion of your brain and enter into your heart in order to remember and receive the wisdom carried in the light that you are now receiving. My last sentences of my notes here are: be kind to yourself and honor what is being revealed as a gift you are being given, not a struggle to hold on to what no longer has alignment with your newness. And finally, it is the light within you that will guide you through all darkness and suffering. So that's my morning message. Call it lecture. I don't think it was too brutal. It comes from a sense of responsibility that I have as being gifted with the ability to come back into this body and be here now during this process. And I take that as seriously as I possibly can. And I want you, each one of you, to remember that your being here right now, each one of you have a responsibility too. And first, the responsibility is to yourself to find a better way of dealing with all of this chaos. Find a better way of honoring who you are in the midst of this and looking for the gifts that you have that each one of you can offer to the world. It doesn't have to be a lot of things. It doesn't have to be a lecture. It doesn't have to be, gathering. It can sometimes just be a smile, or it can just be buying somebody a candy bar, or it doesn't have to be anything extravagant. We live in a world now where everything, look how powerful that is. Oh, look how, they're looking for this effect. But it's the little effect. It's the smile. It's the laughter. We don't smile as much anymore. We don't laugh as much anymore. Love yourself. Know that you are here not to be a victim, but to be an expression of life, kindness, compassion. I love you all. And in closing, you know what I'm going to say. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. We are unity. One heart, one love. Forever. Bless you all and thank you all. I appreciate your following me or listening to me whenever you can. And know that I don't do this for my ego. I just put it out there in the world and for those who need to hear it. And hopefully it creates a shift in your consciousness, even ever so slightly, to just think, I am the light. And it's the light within me that I don't have any control over. I just got to allow it to be seen. Bless you all, my beloved light beings. We'll see you shining in the darkness. Have a great week, and bless you all.